There was an actual documentary being worked on.
Well, see, this is the thing. I can believe that it was happening. At what purpose? See, and that's the thing. Like, my opinion about all of this stuff is so much different than your average person's, and my outlook is so much different than your average person's. Did I believe that it was possible? Absolutely. Why wouldn't he be able to do a documentary? Why wouldn't he be able to bring in Alexandria to come and put this together? Like, the woman who directed this, she doesn't even seem to have a background in hip hop at all.
If you're like me,
did you claim the real list of accomplices was scrubbed from the final cut, but why so much censorship is in play? Did you notice who wasn't in the 50 Cent documentary? We all did. Jaguar Wright says it also broke a prom duet. Here's the list they didn't want you to see. I bet no one on YouTube covered this picture in their video. From insiders like Gene Deal to Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. Now, as you might all know, 50 Cent released the documentary on Diddy, and the reason 50 Cent helped them do it. Let's just say it wasn't that good. Look, I know you clicked on this video because you heard Jaguar Wright. They criticized the documentary, calling it a narrative. And the reaction from the audience, who are allegedly a big part of Diddy's crime circle. Jaguar just revealed what got left on the cutting room floor, is going nuclear on the Netflix documentary. While everyone's busy talking about what made it into the doc, Jaguar attacked it for hiding names like, you want a proof? I want you to look at this pic and name all these people. 50 Cent is way worse, and trust me when I say this, it wasn't cut because it wasn't explosive. Whether 50 Cent is taking down another black man, and for her, none of the information was new. Jaguar Wright discusses whether film
the worst celebrity like that you've been around is like the most full of sin. I know no sin is greater, but like just was like, damn, this
Clive Davis, devil incarnate. Clive Davis, he Janis Joplin, he blackmailed Betty Wright so she wouldn't tell anybody that he Janis Joplin. He killed Whitney Houston.
Except for specific witness admissions. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into their history and stuff. I'm going to cover he's trying to rule the hip-hop industry, but here's the crazy part. She's now saying, I'm going to cover just the sauce to appreciate everyone's time here. Before we get into what Jaguar leaked, or if this is vindication, by being the savior he's not, it covers Diddy's entire life. We're talking about a comprehensive look at one of hip-hop's biggest time here. As we already spent almost 2 years collecting this 4-part series for Netflix, then Diddy and Jay-Z. You need to understand what actually happened, all the way to his recent arrest. That's wild, right? You almost never get that kind of access. Gene Deal, who was Diddy's former bodyguard, there are interviews with people from his inner circle. There are even conversations with actual jurors from his trial. That probably knows more dirt than anyone. Got cut. Why? Diddy talking to his lawyers just days before his arrest. Not everyone who was supposed to be in this documentary actually made it to the final cut. But here's the thing, and this is important. Not controversial for a documentary of Alex Stapleton about payment and creative control. Let that sink in for a second. Her footage was labeled too controversial.
Dealing with Combs Enterprise, they come in and they work and they don't get paid.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna build up to it real quick.
Yeah. So he was able to sell that footage to whomever he chose. The question is, how did anybody know about it? Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the part that, it's so funny because people they get so excited. But when you've got a lawyer like Mark Agnifilo, who is orchestrating your possible surrender, because as you heard him say in the beginning of the documentary, he was very clear. It's almost the middle of September and there's no indictment. As you heard Diddy say, I've been an exemplary client like you've asked. You said I've been an excellent client. I came here. I did everything you asked me to do. Mm-hmm. That's what they're literally having this conversation.
Yeah, in that conversation, Diddy was worried about the outlook of the public versus the victim.
The outlook of the public? Oh, he was worried a lot more than that. You don't think? He literally sat there and said, we need comms. He's sitting there talking like an evil dictator. We need comms. We need a way into this conversation. We're losing, he said. We're losing. Losing what? What are you losing? But the key words that he said that were so important were, we need to be able to be speaking to the potential jurors. He said, you might only be the guy that watches CNN, but there's 9 billion people in the world, and 7 billion of them are on Instagram or TikTok. We need to have control of that. He said, we need to know how these potential jurors are thinking?
Because he had disagreements with the director. If this is supposed to be the reckoning, why did so much get left out? She's been around the story for years, watching things unfold from the background. She made it clear right away that almost nothing in it was new to her, through the rise of bad boy entertainment. Why are we only getting part of the story, about a man convicted on serious charges? But there was one moment that really caught her attention. So the real question becomes, and honestly, when Jaguar started talking about the new Diddy documentary, she made it clear happened internally more than 3 decades ago. Kirk Burroughs finally came out and said out loud that he had been abused by Diddy. For the most part, she knew what would be in it and what wouldn't. Jaguar Wright straight up called this documentary a mockumentary. According to her, about 80% of what's shown in those 4 episodes, Kirk is confirming what people have been talking about behind closed doors this whole time. He knows Diddy inside out. Alright, let's get into what Jaguar actually said. And believe me, Kirk was there for over 30 years. And believe me, she did not hold back. So to Jaguar, she says it mocks your intelligence as a viewer. Because when you see the full picture, you'll understand why she's so angry. She literally said, I feel like this whole thing is mocking Buddha. But now, wait until you hear what she says is missing, getting watered down to protect certain people. Is information she's been sharing publicly.
50 Cent is trying to take down Diddy.
No, he's trying to move Diddy and Jay-Z out the way so he can run it. And the truth is, I ain't mad at him. I just don't trust him. Because the truth is, he would just be another kind of monster in another kind of way. He don't want things to change. He just want to be the one that's running it.
Not a documentary, a mockumentary. She says about ego. This is about truth. We're about to get into the names that were conveniently left out, and it's going to blow your mind. And I've got to be honest with you. When you start looking at who's not in this documentary, some are completely absent. Things start to get really suspicious. About that major industry figures are barely in this documentary. Now, you might think she's just upset she wasn't included. Jay-Z, he gets mentioned maybe once or twice. That's it. And that's why do you think Jay-Z wasn't involved in none of this? Jay-Z poked up on Rivera not long after that. We're talking about people who were right there in the middle of everything. Here's where things get really interesting. He wasn't mentioned at all in this documentary. He was there, he was involved in a lot of it. Matter of fact, not too many people in the industry were mentioned who were there and present. But somehow, in a 4-part documentary series, Jay-Z and Diddy have been connected for decades. He was there for so much of it. And that's crazy when you think about it. And here's what's wild. There was a lot of people that weren't mentioned. They worked with the same people. Ain't that cute? They found a way to tell that story while they kept everybody else clean. The question is, why wasn't he mentioned? They built empires together. They attended the same parties. Think about that for a second. Because right after
Curtis Jackson, they should check the EPA report since he's been there and the toxic waste he's been allowing to be dumped around the property of Millennium Studios for cheap cash. And I'm not saying allegedly, Curtis. I know what you've been doing.
All of this stuff happened around the same time. But if you think Jay-Z's absence is suspicious, he gets about 35 seconds of screen time. This man owned 51% of Bad Boy Records, and Jaguar isn't buying it. 51%. That means he had majority ownership. Wait until you hear about Clive Davis, the most full of sin. You know what she said? She blackmailed Betty Wright so she wouldn't tell anybody. Jay-Z barely gets a mention? That doesn't add up. But in a 4-part documentary series about Bad Boy and Diddy, she didn't hesitate. She went straight for Clive Davis, devil incarnate. When someone asked Jaguar who's the worst celebrity she's been around, but here's what you need to understand. Jaguar has been right about a lot of things. I know some of you are probably thinking, wait, is that even possible? How does that make any sense? He killed Whitney Houston. She's been connecting dots that people are afraid to connect. But then she dropped some bombs. According to Jaguar, now I know that sounds extreme.
He isn't just as bad as Diddy. 50 actually has a heart. He's a lovable thug, you know? Somebody should ask Soulja Boy how loving he is. He's very loving. All that time they spent together and the way he believed in him. Oh my God. They were almost inseparable. Truth is, Curtis is a swish. Been a swish for many years. Everyone knows it. The reason why I haven't got behind Curtis Jackson is because the only reason he wants them out of the way is so he can take over.
She's been making all the points no one is talking about. The man who technically had more power than Diddy himself. Now here's where things get even crazier. And what does Clive Davis have on these people? You have to ask yourself, why? Gets less than a minute of screen time. So when the man who controlled 51% of Bad Boy Records, things that people called her crazy for saying years ago, Jaguar noticed something in the documentary that most people completely missed, that keeps his name out of the conversation. And now those same things are coming true. What's being protected? Who's being protected? He wasn't hiding. He was literally filming them back. And in that conversation, they're talking strategy. From the moment federal agents showed up near his hotel room, he wasn't scared. Clive Davis killed Janis Joplin. The documentary shows Diddy recording everything.
Who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love.
And that's weird, right? But it gets weirder. And then the lawyer says something that should make everyone's ears perk up. You can hear Diddy's lawyer. Diddy was trying to shape the minds of potential jurors long before he was even arrested. And it's huge. Mark Agnafilo having a conversation with him. But they were already planning to infect the jury pool perfectly. She's asking the right question. They were already talking about controlling how potential jurors think. They're talking about public perception. In the documentary, what? He hadn't even been arrested yet. They were losing. Losing what? Losing at what? Millions of people watch it. The documentary itself might be part of that propaganda machine. He hadn't even been charged yet. But think about it. 50 Cent makes a documentary that goes viral. Those opinions might influence potential jurors if this ever goes to trial again. And you know what? Looking at how things played out, it seems like they're playing.
Last question. I asked you to do this earlier, but I just want you to do it even more, go detailed. What do you predict will happen next in the future? You know, it's like you see it before it happens.
Kathy White's true killer is going to be unveiled, and it's not a man. And that woman died screaming.
Anything else?
Yeah, show him the tape, Diddy. You got it.
Oh man,
that might buy you a little time. You should probably stop looking for plastic surgeons.
Man.
Looking for a new life, new face. We gonna hang you high. Jay-Z too, Beyonce too, and we gonna round up all the. See, I love a good gay man. I just can't stand him. And that's what it is.
With that being
You want to know what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
I'm about to f up America.
He hadn't even been taken into custody, and in watching it, they form opinions, and Jaguar sees right through it. Okay, this next part is going to make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. Diddy had been trying to get close to Bieber for years. Jaguar claims there was footage involving, that's not justice, that's manipulation. And Usher gave Diddy temporary, and this was after Bieber had already been hospitalized for something. The guardianship of Justin Bieber, Usher, who himself had a complicated history with Diddy. They saw something wasn't right, and they protected him. And when you hear the context, you'll understand why this is so disturbing. But Bieber's management kept blocking it. Justin Bieber and Diddy that got cut from the documentary for 48 hours. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship. Now that we know what Diddy was allegedly doing, that situation that Gene was talking about, and his management was backing.
Oh, this about to get fun.
Will Diddy start snitching?
He better. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a bean. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone.
And you still took Bieber there, but you got custody of him first. But then Usher took over management. According to Jaguar, Jaguar doesn't specify what, but she says, does that sound like someone protecting Justin? But it didn't make the final cut of the Netflix documentary. Jaguar doesn't believe 50 Cent made this documentary out of the goodness of his heart. Usher and Bieber were protected. Gene Deal talked about it in Interview. So gave temporary guardianship to Diddy for 48 hours. This footage allegedly exists somewhere. Jaguar believes major names like, so let me get this straight. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber.
Are tens of thousands of victims who have been waiting for justice for so long. Justice for Kim Porter. Justice for Justin Bieber. Justice for Cassie. Justice for Tanya Rubin. Justice for Little Rod. Justice for Tierra Marie. Even Princess Love for that matter. Justice for Biggie, Pop, Nipsey, Pimp C, my son Javon.
And
Jaguar
honestly,
lays it
that
out
makes
clearly.
sense.
She
Because
says
isn't
many
trying to
major
bring
figures
justice.
connected to
Listen
Diddy
to
or
what she
Jay-Z
says.
may not have
Now we
committed
get to the
crimes
heart of
themselves,
why Jaguar
but they
is so
knew,
angry.
they saw,
50
and they
Cent
stayed
isn't
silent.
trying to help victims.
In her eyes,
about
that
other
silence
celebrities
makes them
who
complicit.
knew what was happening
When
and
asked
did
why
nothing.
Diddy is
Let
going
that sink
down
in.
now,
And when you think
Jaguar
about
called
it,
him
it
the
makes sense.
acceptable monster.
50 Cent has been beefing
like
with Diddy
our
for over 20
Kelly was
years.
before.
Does that
The
sound like a
industry
good
doesn't
guy?
care about
Possibly
justice
through
or
legal
victims.
pressure or financial
It cares about
settlements.
control.
Because including
When
that
someone
footage
becomes
would open up a
uncontrollable,
whole new
that's when
set
the
of
truth is
questions.
allowed out.
Think about that.
But
He had
only
already
parts
been to
that
the
don't
hospital,
expose others in
trolling him
power.
on social media, the
Jaguar
whole
has
deal.
been
And
around
now
this for
Millennium
years.
Studios property
She
in
spoke about
Shreveport
Diddy's
for
parties,
cash. That
the
sounds like
cameras,
someone who has something
and
to
alleged
hide.
misconduct
And honestly,
long before
neither am I.
anyone listened.
Or worse,
People called her
celebrities who
crazy,
actively helped
dismissed
it
her,
happen. He's
or
been making
accused her
jokes
of
about
clout
him.
chasing.
That doesn't sound
But
like
now,
someone
with
who's
Diddy
fearless.
convicted,
Expose 50 Cent for
everyone
allegedly
acts shocked.
allowing toxic
Jaguar
waste
says the real
dumping.
question
Why did
isn't why
Usher
we
hand a
didn't know.
teenage Justin
It's
Bieber
why we
over
didn't
to
listen.
him? And then Jaguar
through it
goes
all,
even further.
she reminds
She says
us,
it straight up.
tens
And
of
now
thousands of
suddenly,
victims are
he's
still
trying to
waiting for
eliminate
justice.
his competition. Cent
Jaguar
took stuff
says
down
if
when
she's
he got a
forced to
cease and
become a
desist.
witness,
That
she
doesn't
claims
mean
cost
she
her life.
knows what he's been
She
doing
knows the
and has
risks,
proof.
yet she
If
keeps
somebody
speaking
says
out.
his name wrong
That's
and he feels
courage.
offended,
Putting
his
truth
own
above
skeletons in the
personal
closet.
safety.
50 Cent
Whether you
might have
believe
his
everything
own
she
secrets
says or
that
not,
he doesn't
that
want
deserves
exposed.
respect.
And then
His
she
own-
delivers
the Netflix
this
documentary
message.
might be
She
trending,
threatens to
but
expose
Jaguar
that would
warns
destroy
that's just
his
the tip
image
of the
as the
iceberg.
hero, taking
The
down
real
the bad
reckoning
guy.
hasn't
He's
even
making a
begun.
documentary about
Once one
accountability
person
and
breaks the
justice.
silence,
She's
more
saying
may
50
follow.
Cent comes for
What do you
everybody.
think?
Boom.
Does Jaguar
That's
have
a
a
direct
point?
shot.
Did
She's
50
not
Cent
speaking
make this
allegedly.
documentary for
Jaguar
the
isn't
right
buying
reasons?
it. He'll sue
Or
you.
is
He'll
there
make
another
humiliating
motive?
posts about
Is
you.
Jay-Z
And
really
here's
next?
something else that people are
Drop your
starting to
thoughts in the
notice.
comments.
She's saying,
I
why?
read every
Why would the
single
king
one.
of petty